This is a piece titled Lucky. It's a backstory of a character that I write about some. The character that I write about is named the sous chef. I've done most every kind of cooking there is, from slinging hash at a place called Mom's to chefing at some fancy joints in San Francisco, Chicago, and Paducah. Weirdest one before coming to cook here at the ranch was a brief stint as a private chef for a Texas wildcatter named Lucky. I can't tell you his last name because he said the only time he wanted his name appearing in print was in his obituary. He didn't want his picture took either, figured he'd leave his mark some other way. And I guess you could say he did. Drilled a string of dry holes from Fuella to the Oklahoma line, punching enough dusters in the Llano Estacado it looked like the biggest prairie dog town ever. At the time I was looking for a change and answered an ad Lucky had put into the Paducah Pioneer for a chef. He had his own private rail car and spent a lot of time traveling the US of A. He'd been running the ad in all the places he was planning to be in his travels, and he'd get to a place where there's some applicants. He'd park for a while and do some interviewing. At the time, I was learning the verities of the pit from a barbecue master named Leon, who had a joint just outside of Paducah. As luck would have it, Lucky was into Q and invited me to come for an interview. He kicked it off by saying, "I'm looking to hire more than a mere chef. I'm looking to hire a transmogrifier." He didn't pause long enough for me to ask what the hell that was. He said, "I respect all living things, so I only eat dead ones." He said, "I don't kill them either. And I only eat their transformed beings. I don't want my grub looking like it once was. All my victuals are prepared by my transmogrifier. I'm eating a steak. I don't want to be reminded it was once a little soft-eyed heifer." Yeah, that was another quirk Lucky had. He wouldn't eat the male of a species. When he found out I was versed in the barbecue trade, by way of checking my credentials, he said, "Why don't you go down to Seguin and get us a load of goats, and you can show me your stuff." So I did. I got 5 little nannies, young enough they'd have been veal if they were bovines. I also got a wether, which is what you call a kid that has been cut. I might have been Billy, you could say. I thought some folks at the fest Lucky was planning might like to sample the difference. The way Leon showed me to do barbacoa is you dress out the goat, but leave the carcass intact. Even leave the little hoofs on. You take some green saplings and use them to splay the body apart and have them split it from asshole to appetite, and then you arrange them around the periphery of a pile of banked coals, kind of leaning them inward so that the heat gets into the body cavity. You cook them from the inside out. You got a mopping sauce that you keep goobering on them until they're GB and D, golden brown and delicious. Lucky showed up at the picnic site when the goats were just finishing up, and he saw them arrayed around the fire like some pagan sacrificial ritual, and he liked his shit. He caught the next train out of town. Me and the locals had a mighty tasty treat, courtesy of Lucky. Everybody who got a hunk of the weather said it was prime, superfine barbacoa and just a tad more succulent than the nannies. One of the locals said he liked a barbecue, but was kind of put off on account of seeing those little hooves. I told him the reason they get left on is so nobody will accuse you of barbecuing a dog. The end.